6.5 years ago, our son Ryder was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer at a year old. Fast forward, here we are, he's doing great. And our third baby, Rocky, just turned 1.
All right, happy birthday, man. Happy birthday, Rocky.
And we're dealing with a pretty serious autoimmune condition. It's crazy and even kind of deja vu for me to be sitting here sharing this with you, but given the emotional strain that this has put on our family this past year and everything that we're doing trying to heal Rocky, we feel like it's time to share what going through this has been like for us in hopes that it helps just one family. And that was really our intention when we started everything for Ryder, was if it helped just one family, then it would be worth it. And here we are, and we know that his journey has impacted thousands of families. So hopefully one day we'll be able to say the same thing about Rocky's healing journey. What has made this particularly hard for us to open up about is the feelings of shame and guilt. It feels like we know enough that our kids shouldn't be suffering from this, and that we've taken these drastic, huge steps to make sure that none of our kids have to go through what Ryder went through. So it's been a tough year. Rocky has eczema, and the eczema isn't just a little rash on his elbow or his knee. This is high-grade eczema diagnosed by dermatologists and pediatricians, and it's all over his body. And when he gets a flare-up, the itching is out of control. There's sleepless nights. They look like welts and burns, and they're just all over. And it just seems like nothing we do helps actually fix what's happening. We do feel like we know the cause. When I had about a month left to go on the pregnancy, I started getting sick and had a chronic ear infection that I just could not shake. I had never experienced that level of pain up until that point, at least. So when I delivered him, everything seemed fine at that time. We had him naturally in a birth center like the other 2 kids. And went home the same day a few hours later, and we had our whole family together, and the kids were enjoying their brand new baby brother, and everything seemed great. 24 hours later, things started to go downhill very quickly for us when I started experiencing truly intense pain that I can't even describe. It was like the right side of my body was shutting down, and I felt like I couldn't move, but at the same time, somebody was running a knife into me. So I went to bed, and in the middle of the night started feeling like this isn't normal. But I kept telling myself, okay, this is my 3rd pregnancy, and everyone says that you experience cramps more on your 3rd baby. So I thought that's all that it was. So we got to morning and realized that something still just wasn't right, and we needed to get to the hospital. By the time we got to the hospital, I had a high fever, which I didn't have at home, and as it turned out, I had a uterine infection that went septic. 30% of women who get this don't make it, so it's a really big deal. Being in the hospital, we asked if we could do IVC. They said no, and I was immediately put on very high dosages of antibiotics. We consulted with numerous doctors, both conventional and integrative, because obviously we had this beautiful newborn baby boy, and we didn't know what to do as far as if I should be nursing him or if he should be getting formula. So after talking to all of these people, it seemed like at the time the right decision was to nurse him if I could. I wasn't in a position where I could have pumped. He just basically laid in the hospital bed beside me. We were there for a week, and we were there over Christmas. And when we got out, I was on 2 more weeks of oral antibiotics. This time in the hospital, I was on IV antibiotics for a week. And so we believe that event, which destroys everything in your gut, also destroyed everything in Rocky's gut. And here we are a year later, and he has eczema everywhere. I never understood how much suffering went along with it until now. This past year, we've worked remotely with doctors, but nothing has really seemed to help him. We have dozens of topical creams, but we know, like Ryder, there's just not a silver bullet, and it's not an overnight fix. We started noticing it when Rocky was about a month old. It started with a rash on his forehead, like a Batman-shaped rash. And from there, the rashes started developing on the rest of his body, and ironically this one cleared up, but not from any creams. I was smothering it in oatmeal creams and nothing made it go away until one day that one started going away, but then his whole body just started flaring up. And his pediatrician said it's classic eczema, but he would probably grow out of it. Fast forward to several months later, and the eczema continued to get worse and worse. And we took him to a dermatologist to find out that Rocky has the kind of eczema that he's not going to just grow out of, and it's just caused conventionally by bad luck, which is so familiar to what we experienced when Ryder was diagnosed, and the cancer was just bad luck, and there's nothing that you can do. With conventional medicine, all they can offer are steroids or topical non-steroid creams that also come with plenty of side effects and don't do anything to actually address the cause. So basically, if you stop using it, the flare-ups come right back, and even worse than before, because you're basically suppressing them back into the body that's trying to purge them out. Knowing what we know, we really do believe that we have the answer as to what caused it. You know, being exposed to that level of antibiotics from such a young age. Obviously, it's not the lifestyle we live. We've done so much to create a non-toxic healing environment for Ryder and for our other kids to thrive in. So we don't believe it's environmental factors. So how are we healing? Well, we found a doctor that is close to us in the same town that we're working with, who is addressing the antibiotic damage in me, and in turn, me giving that to Rocky, who is still nursing. I'm on this big candida protocol, and Rocky is as well. So it's great having somebody here that can actually see him and see our progress or steps backwards, which right now feels like we've taken a giant step back. Something has recently flared him up, and we don't know exactly what that is. I've eliminated gluten, soy, dairy, corn, and eggs, but most recently, like within the last several days, I've also eliminated yeast, which I think may have contributed to this last flare-up. We're currently managing his symptoms with oatmeal baths every night, red light therapy. We also have a Bioptron light. We have a ton of different creams, and we've also discovered ozone oils. But at the end of the day, something inside of his body is causing this, and that's why we're trying to heal him from the inside out, because really his skin is a reflection of the havoc that's going on inside of his body. So what does a typical day look like for us? Well, it starts off very, very early in the morning, or basically doesn't end when we go to bed, however you want to look at that. But when we go to bed, I have to hold Rocky so that he doesn't scratch. Sometimes we put him in this wet wrap, this wetsuit that keeps his wounds moist and creates more of a healing environment and helps reduce itching. And then fast forward to about 3 or 4 in the morning, Ryan will wake up and take Rocky with him and go to the couch in the living room and bounce him on the chair and see if he can get him to go back to sleep for an hour or two and give me a little bit of a nap. When Rocky wakes up from that, then Ryan brings him back into me, and I sit up with him in the bed, nursing him back to sleep, and usually we can hang out there for about another hour. It's really, really tough to see your kid suffer, and if you are a parent that's ever experienced it, then I don't have to tell you that, you just know. So from Rocky waking up with me in bed, then Ryan will take him back and put him in the backpack while we get the other kids kind of ready to go in the morning with their breakfast. Rocky has to be kept in the backpack with special sleeves on so that he doesn't scratch himself and create more rashes. And then I take Rocky back, and I can usually get him a bit of a nap, but he has to be laying down on me for that nursing. And we usually will do the Bioptron light at the same time. And then we do supervised floor time with him so that he's not scratching and he gets to actually use his hands so that they're not just wrapped up in a suit all day and he just doesn't have the ability to use them. And then in the evening time, we do a nightly bath with oatmeal, which seems to help calm down the overall itching. And then when I can get him to sleep, usually by nursing him, depending on how agitated he is, sometimes it takes longer, then I will sit there with him and do the red light therapy before we go to bed. So with Ryder, we made the decision when he was about a year old to just start documenting everything, because at that point we really felt like if it helps just one family, then that would be enough. And here we are again, going through something similar to our journey with Ryder. And again, we're feeling that call to be transparent and document everything, even if it helps just one family heal from this or any autoimmune condition. We have kept it mostly to ourselves. Obviously, we've made references that he has eczema, but never to this degree of putting it all out there, because there has been those feelings of shame, which are things that we need to deal with on our own, but those feelings aren't going to help Rocky or anyone else heal. So we hope that by putting out our journey with him and documenting everything that we're doing along the way, that like Ryder's journey, we can help someone else going through this. These are all chronic illnesses where at the end of the day, we know that you just have to keep going, and that's what we're going to do. And we really want you with us along the way, sharing in this journey with us as we heal Rocky.
You were finding out where you're at?
Yeah, can I do a yes? Wait. Oh my god.